Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring the Bloodlines and Black Magic core rulebook. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review, featuring this 5e powered occult adventures role-playing game, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about your character's legacy and background. Operating from smoky boardrooms, inherited beach houses, or their private yachts, the villains silently manipulating the globe's financial systems continue to consolidate their power and privilege, pushing borders and praising Heterothriel under the rocket's red glare. While this fact is invisible to most of the modern world, this progress demands individual citizens to learn how to safely navigate these complex networks, or when they cannot, learn how to work around them. Just like in real life, the world characters experience in Bloodlines and Black Magic can be as easy or as difficult as the player's enemies choose to make it for them. In some instances, this privilege is evident. In other cases, it takes a light touch to help illuminate the darkness. When a player creates a character for Bloodlines and Black Magic, the Game Master may choose to have the player roll a d100, matching the results to the table your character's legacy, and giving the player character a baseline for their financial and social history. Let's talk about some of the results. Maybe you obtain the result of: you were born to well-off working parents who cared for one another. Although you had a few rough years, you grew up healthy and nurtured. One or more of your parents is an industry leader, engineer, or artist. You might have a movie star parent, a well-respected judge, or even a congressman to call when things get rough. You begin play with a notable allowance and a contact that can get you out of most jams. Maybe the result is: you were born to the middle class. You did boring middle class things. You begin play with 2d4 multiplied by 100 worth of cash and assets. Or maybe you obtain the result of: you grew up on the streets, not a parent in sight. Although you may have a social security or national identification number somewhere, you have always been off the grid most of your life, and do not worry about things like IDs. If you get pulled over in most modern countries, you are getting harassed, taken to jail, and possibly deported as an illegal immigrant. In the wrong country, you might be shot. Somehow you have made it this far. Increase your luck score by 1. And these are just a few of the many results. Then we have information on character backgrounds. These represent one of the many paths characters might take while discovering the invisible world and their place in it. Depending on the character's legacy, any number of backgrounds may seem appropriate or interesting choices. Let's talk about some of these backgrounds. You have accidental discovery. You discovered the invisible world quite by accident. Maybe you walked into the middle of a summoning ritual in the woods. Initially, you did not take any of it seriously, assuming you had walked into an awfully expensive, very elaborate prank. Over time, however, you discovered the truth. The invisible world is very real, and its inhabitants are extremely dangerous. In this path, you gain a bonus to your passive perception, and perception is a class skill for you. You also obtain a bonus to Wisdom Insight checks. Concerning equipment, you begin play with a smartphone, several sets of clothes, a laptop, and $1,000 in cash. You have spent most of your life living in a mundane world, and have formed a strong connection with it. While your family, friends, and larger social network all serve as strong roots in the mundane, you have learned to cloak yourself in it. Once per day, as a reaction to someone activating Pierce the Veil while looking in your direction, you may cloak yourself in mundane energies, appearing as a normal human to creatures and individuals from the invisible world. You can randomly generate many things such as personality traits. Perhaps you are focused. You are focused on something important, a family, order, or personal goal. You can also determine street names, maybe Park Street. You grew up by the local police station. You have learned a lot of the lingo. You can also determine bonds. Maybe a ghost. As a young child, it whispered to you sometimes. It still does. And you have flaws such as boring. Your speech and mannerism produces yawns. There's also the adept. You have spent years studying the occult. You managed a few successful cantrips, but you know that it is only the beginning. You sense there is more out there, and you hunger for that knowledge. Your overall approach to the invisible world is careful and calculated. You rarely set out on ventures you have not heavily considered and weighed against your impressive body of underground and hidden wisdom. You have occult training, that is, the occult is your class skill. You add focus to your class skills as well. You read, write, and speak a bonus language. You begin play with things such as a single dagger or blade, 5 black candles, a package of incense sticks, and a lucky medallion. You have the adept's charm. You learn a few skills, but all of them exhibit a devilish charm that even the drollest drone must begrudgingly acknowledge. You know the cantrip guidance, and charisma is your spellcasting modifier for it. You also tend to collect more than just dusty old tomes or forgotten knickknacks. Over time, good adepts learn to expand their understanding of the supernatural and the natural world. When it comes to traits, you have things such as Old World Goth. You prefer the night, cloves, and red wine. You dress all in black. When it comes to ideals, maybe you want to bridge the worlds. You are dedicated to changing the mundane world to match the invisible world. Let us get weird. When it comes to bonds, maybe you have a familiar. You have a bond with a pet, familiar, or ally that motivates you to learn more about the magic of the world. Concerning flaws, maybe you are impatient. You are so impatient that you rush others, even when you are trying to help them. You can be quite pushy too, especially when you think you could perform a skill more efficiently. And these are just a few examples. There are many backgrounds here, such as agent, bookworm, entitled, ghost hunter, military, suit, survivalist, traveler. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part, we are going to talk about additional details, auras, and oddities. All of these backgrounds pretty much cover everything that you would need in a campaign for your character to feel realistic and tied to the setting. And although the legacies and the backgrounds can be quite mundane, they all have a certain connection with the invisible, the unknown, and the magical. Thank you for watching this part of the review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.